Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking care of this wiring harness. We're going to be putting it on. The wiring harness on the mower right now, it's not bad, it works. But it doesn't work for the motor that I put on it. There's a couple differences. Main one being this connector right here. This connector specifically is just designed for that motor. It's the same thing, but the 15 horsepower has a different connection, and I'll go ahead and show you. Now, this is a 6-piece connector, and this right here as you can probably tell, it doesn't fit very well. So this entire wiring harness, it does not plug in right, considering the coils and all the red wires. If you'll notice, right here, this is a 6-piece connector. Well, 4 terminal, but it's got 6 spots open. And what this has is, it's got the ground wires here for the coil, and then it's got 2 other wires. I don't know what they're for. And then you'll notice here, this only has 3 wires. It's got the red and the orange, and then just a singular ground wire for the coil. And this works fine for the little 12.5 horsepower motor over there, but it doesn't work for the 15. So what I did to bypass that for the time being, it starts like normal. There's no real safety on here. You can start it and then do whatever. But I just implemented a kill switch right here. That's all that is. And that just runs from the coil here to the switch to the ground I just put here. So what I need to do is replace the wiring harness. Here's the little 6-piece with 4 terminals in it. That's what I was describing earlier. Right off in here. Okay, so the first part to getting this done is access. And what we're going to do, we're going to start back to front. And you could start front to back, it doesn't matter which way you do it, but I just find it easier going back to front. And the way we're going to do this first is we're going to have to either remove this switch or just remove this connector. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this little clip here. Sometimes it'd be a little bit difficult, but with enough manipulation should just come right off. I know this switch is good. So the next thing to do is to pop it off from this side here. And what they have is they have a little tab holding it in the back. Just press that tab out. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. You may need 2 screwdrivers, but I feel like I could get it with 1. You could also just gently tug on the wire as well. Right here we have another one of those connectors. Same process applies. We can lift up the battery compartment to remove the cable without having to take out the battery and the entire battery holder. There we go. And if you're going to replace the hot cable, the positive cable, you'd remove this and pull it through. But since this is a good cable with a brand new terminal on it, I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the starter solenoid. Now we're underneath the mower. And the next thing we're going to do is bend down these little metal clips that are holding the wires in place. Now you can either grab a screwdriver or do it with your fingers. It's fairly thin metal, it may be easier to do it with pliers. Actually it's easier just to do it with your fingers. One more thing we need to do just underneath the fender. right here are your grounds. You'll notice the battery ground going to here, and you notice a thin ground wire. This is for all your switches. The person who put the ground on this one didn't do the most spectacular job. The one that I took parts off of and got the other wiring harness off of actually is easy to get to. I think the bolt's almost out anyways, of which it is. And this is all it is. I don't know why they have it zip tied to itself. But now, we reach around, we can grab the wiring harness and pull it up. There it is. Okay, with that all taken care of, the next thing to do is just pull out this cable right here. Doesn't appear to be held on. Should just come out like so. There's nothing holding this one on. And one thing to note, as I am taking off these terminals, I am checking inside for corrosion, dirt, anything like that. This one's a little bit dirty, but I don't see any corrosion, so I'd say it's good to reuse. The next steps are achievable by taking off the fan shroud and the gas tank, of which I already had disconnected. It's empty on fuel, so topping it over isn't a big concern. I can set it just like this, and all the fuel's down here. It'll be just fine. Now you'll notice the entire solenoid here, as well as the starter, which is just up here. Now let's focus on getting the starter disconnected. Now this is an easy task. All you need is to give it a little bit of a pull. That's one wire. Now this wire, these wires should just pop off like so. Now it's a good time to look at all your terminals, look at the starter, and see if it's good. What we're going to do now, since we're going to leave this solenoid on, we're going to go in there with our camera, just take a photo of how it is set up, so I know exactly where the white and black wires go. I'm going to go ahead and move this one out of the way, so I know how that ground wire is set up, or whichever wire this is, I don't know. This is connected to the hot, so we can go ahead and unplug this wire. This just kind of snaps. And there we go. Now it is time to unplug the brake switch. There it is. And also, one thing, I don't know if you see it, this switch right here is the one we did from underneath the mower. You could have done that from up here if you really wanted to. It doesn't matter. I just did it from underneath. I felt like it would be easier, and in my opinion, it was. So now, since we have photos taken, we can go ahead and unplug this wire, unplug that wire, oops. And now that entire wiring harness should be free of this mower, and all we've got to do is push this out so we can actually push it in and pull it out, and there we go. Okay, I've got my pair of wire cutters. So I'm just going to locate where on this line we need to cut these zip ties. That's one. It's not all the way cut through because I'm not wanting to cut the wires, because I do have intentions of saving this wiring harness, and if someone needs it, I could sell it to them or give it to them. Probably sell it. And now we've got a couple more zip ties, but also we've got something holding on right here. So what we're going to do is identify which type it is. It looks like the one we need a screwdriver for. So now we can pull the wiring harness through. Kind of make sure it goes through easy. Okay, so right now I am just plugging everything in for proofs of concept. Moment of truth. So what I'm doing right now, since I've tested the mower and made sure the lights work, you can see them through there. I don't know if you can catch it on video, but I see it through here. I know for sure they work. Next test run, I'll actually pull out this light and I'll leave it right here so y'all can watch it and watch it light up. But everything is working as intended. And that works. one thing I am going to demonstrate to you, which is how I got that machine running, is how to change out these terminals. The starter terminal was different. We've talked about that. So how did I change over the terminal from this old terminal to the one that suits that motor? Well, all you need to do is get a screwdriver similar to this, probably no wider than this, and just stick it down there, press up in this manner, and then pull. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. There you go. You see this little clip here is what holds it in place, and when you stick it in and push up, you're pressing this. And to get it back in, just push it up and it snaps right in. And that's how I was able to get that wiring harness to work. And with that, I am good to go.